test should be, how can we test their application of the knowledge and the skills, knowing that they're going to use these tools anyways, but we formulate these tests, quizzes, homeworks, whatever they may be, in ways that add value for the learner so that they take away something from it as they're using these tools. And it can be something as simple as like, okay, use this tool, do your research, whatever. But then if you had to do it again more efficiently using the same tools and doing the same approach, what would you do differently? And it would be interesting to see how an 8-year-old kid would reapproach the same problem a second time in a more effective way, still using the same tools. I think there's much more to learn from that than trying to see whether they memorize whatever the elements of the periodic table or whatever of this asteroid that they're doing a report on.
So looking at your crystal ball, from your point of view, what would be the best case scenario of the combination of AI and education?
I mean, I think it's going to be similar to what we've seen in some movies where we have a personalized tutor that is always with us, that is infinitely available for us to ask questions to, that will basically help us supplement our knowledge and experiences, but as a kind of like a co-pilot in a way. But it will be tailored to each of us very specifically, and it will work with us to understand what our potential is or where our skills lie, and then really nurture in that direction without being overly imposing.
So do you think there's risk of maybe like this AI to maybe like increasing the gap between like rich and poor? Like rich has the money to buy these tools, poor people don't have much, and like
don't have access.
Yeah, and like in the States, the big cities, even if you're like in a poor neighborhood, you have access to the internet. You live in the world, there's no internet access. Do you think that even widens the gap even more?
I do spend a lot of time thinking about accessibility, equity, and things like that as well. It's true. My view right now, okay, we are running a for-profit business, but I think, in my view, education should be very similar to like Khan Academy and how Saul Khan is approaching education. I think in the future, my ideal future is that, with Elon Musk's, Starlink, hopefully will provide more access to internet around the world. The price of devices generally are becoming more affordable. So hopefully an ideal future is one where having access to the internet is almost a universal right, just like drinking water. And that, the cost of access to devices is materially lower, and that essentially AI should be embedded on all of these devices anyways. So in term, actually, I do think it will exacerbate disparities between rich and poor. Actually, I do think so. But hopefully in the medium and the longer term, as the cost of technology becomes cheaper, it should become more and widely accessible. Just like today, anybody can buy a calculator with relative ease. I would imagine that it would be something similar, hopefully.
So here's a question for you. So obviously our tech's getting better and better. Like, who knows what's going to be at the next 50 years. As, we might have neural links, all kind of crazy stuff going on.
Sure.
So tech's without that getting better. But from your point of view, has a human race been getting smarter? Like, is a human from the year 25 BC, are we like 10 times smarter than that person? Or do you think human intelligence will basically like stay the same through all these thousands of years or billions of years, how long has we been on this earth?
Good question. So there are times when I'm like, oh, the state of affairs in the world is crap. Like things are going to shit. I don't know if I can swear, but sometimes what I do is I try to, kind of what you said, I try to zoom out. I try to look objectively at like, okay, how has the human condition varied over the last couple thousand years? And if you look, so there's a book that I read called Factfulness. And it's really just a book about different facts about how humanity has progressed. And if you look at it, for the most part, I think humanity has progressed. Our living standards are better. Now, it's not to say that, we definitely don't live in a utopia yet by any means, right? But I think as a whole, technology has allowed us to live better lives. But now we're dealing with different problems that we had before, right? So like 1,000 years ago, there's no social media and stuff like that. And the issues that stem from social media did not exist. They had other problems. They didn't have those problems. And I think, with any new advent of new technology, it will also add its own layer of complexities and problems. So I don't think technology will remove all problems in general. I think technology will create more problems, but I think overall, in terms of living standards and human progress, it has been an upward trend. And if we look at kind of, facts overall, I believe that we're trending in that direction.
Yeah, so kind of subject. A lot of people say social media is taking over the world. Like,
Mm,
there's a picture one day, someone put social media, like everyone on the train with the phone in their hand.
sure,
No one's talking to each other. And someone like
sure.
came back like a day later and did a picture from the 1940s with everyone
Mhm.
with a paper in front of them.
Newspaper, yeah,
Like
sure.
nothing's changed. Like people
Mm,
still want to be distracted, right?
yes, yes. I think it's very hard to do. And like when we started our business, we always wanted to do a business that we considered was a force for good. So if I had just wanted to make money, I would have got into fintech or whatever, crypto or something like that. Like education, like the learning is hard. It takes time. So yes, it's possible to build businesses that are extremely lucrative on the bad habits of humanity. It's so easy to do that. But then we have to, I ask myself moral and ethical questions on a regular basis. Like, is what we're doing generally good? I think it is. But, using the example of social media and newspapers, we're always going to have the same habits. You could be selling cigarettes, tobacco, or whatever. You could work in big pharma, and you could argue that there are questions of ethics and morality there. For me, it's really about trying not to exacerbate bad habits that humans already have as much as possible. And learning is about having discipline, which literally is the opposite of instant gratification that comes from social media.